The Vimalakirti Nirdesa Sutra, Chapter 7, Looking at Living Beings. Manjushri asked Vimalakirti,
"How should a bodhisattva look at living beings?"
Vimalakirti replied, "A bodhisattva should look at living beings like an illusionist does at the illusory men he has created, and like a wise man looking at the moon's reflection in water, at his own face in a mirror, at the flame of a burning fire, at the echo of a calling voice, at flying clouds in the sky, at foam in a liquid, at bubbles on water, at the empty core of a banana tree, at a flash of lightning, at the non-existent fifth element beside the four that make the human body, at the sixth aggregate beside the five that make a sentient being, at the seventh sense datum beside the 6 objects of sense, at the 13th entrance or ayatana beside the 12 involving the 6 organs and 6 sense data, at the 19th realm of sense beside the 18 dhatus or fields of sense, at form in the formless world, at the non-existent sprout of a charred grain of rice, at a body seen by a Shrodapana who has wiped out the illusory body to enter the holy stream, at the entry of an Anagaman or a non-returning Shravaka into the womb of a woman for rebirth, at an Arhat still preserving the 3 poisons of desire, anger, and stupidity which he has eliminated forever, at a bodhisattva realizing the patient endurance of the uncreate who is still greedy, resentful, and breaking the prohibitions, at a Buddha still suffering from klesha or troubles, at a blind man seeing things, at an adept who still breathes air in and out while in the state of nirvanic imperturbability, at the tracks of birds flying in the air, at the progeny of a barren woman, at the suffering of an illusory man, at a sleeping man seeing he is awake in a dream, at a devout man realizing nirvana who takes a bodily form for another reincarnation, and at a smokeless fire. This is how a bodhisattva should look at living beings." Thereat, Manjushri asked Vimalakirti,
"When a bodhisattva so meditates, how should he practice kindness?"
Vimalakirti replied, "When a bodhisattva has made this meditation, he should think that he ought to teach living beings to meditate in the same manner. This is true kindness. He should practice causeless or nirvanic kindness, which prevents creativeness; unheeded kindness, which puts an end to klesha, or troubles and causes of troubles; impartial kindness, which covers all 3 periods of time, which means that it is eternal, involving past, future, and present; passionless kindness, which wipes out disputation; non-dual kindness, which is beyond sense organs within and sense data without; indestructible kindness, which eradicates all corruptibility; stable kindness, which is a characteristic of the undying self-mind; pure and clean kindness, which is spotless like Dharmata; boundless kindness, which is all-pervasive like space; the kindness of the Arhat stage, which destroys all bondage; the Bodhisattva kindness, which gives comfort to living beings; the Tathagata kindness, which leads to the state of thatness; the Buddha kindness, which enlightens all living beings; spontaneous kindness, which is causeless; Bodhi kindness, which is of one flavor, that is, uniform and unmixed wisdom; unsurpassed kindness, which cuts off all desires; merciful kindness, which leads to the Mahayana path; untiring kindness, because of deep insight into the void and non-existent ego; Dharma bestowing or dana kindness, which is free from regret and repentance; precepts or sila upholding kindness, to convert those who have broken the commandments. Patient or kshanti kindness, which protects both the self and others. Zealous or virya kindness, to liberate all living beings. Serene or dhyana kindness, which is unaffected by the five senses. Wise or prajna kindness, which is always timely. Expedient or upaya kindness, to appear at all times for converting living beings. Unhidden kindness, because of the purity and cleanness of the straightforward mind. Profound-minded kindness, which is free from discrimination. Undeceptive kindness, which is faultless. And joyful kindness, which bestows the Buddha joy in nirvana. Such are the specialities of bodhisattva kindness. Manjushri asked Vimalakirti,
What should be his compassion?
Vimalakirti replied, His compassion should include sharing with all living beings all the merits he has won. Manjushri asked,
What should be his joy?
Vimalakirti replied, He should be filled with joy on seeing others win the benefit of the Dharma with no regret whatsoever. Manjushri asked,
What should he relinquish?
Vimalakirti replied, In his work of salvation he should expect nothing, that is, no gratitude or reward in return. Manjushri asked,
On what should he rely in his fear of birth and death?
Vimalakirti replied, He should rely on the power of the Tathagata's moral merits. Manjushri asked,
What should he do to win support from the power of the Tathagata's moral merits?
Vimalakirti replied, He should liberate all living beings in order to win support from the power of the Tathagata's moral merits. Manjushri asked,
What should he wipe out in order to liberate living beings?
Vimalakirti replied, When liberating living beings, he should wipe out their klesha, or troubles and causes of troubles. Manjushri asked,
What should he do to wipe out Kalisha?
Vimalakirti replied, He should uphold right mindfulness. Manjushri asked,
What should he do to uphold right mindfulness?
Vimalakirti replied, He should advocate the unborn and the undying. Manjushri asked,
What is the unborn and what is the undying?
Vimalakirti replied, The unborn is evil that does not arise, and the undying is good that does not end. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of good and evil?
Vimalakirti replied, The body is the root of good and evil. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of the body?
Vimalakirti replied, Craving is the root of the body. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of craving?
Vimalakirti replied, Baseless discrimination is the root of craving. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of baseless discrimination?
Vimalakirti replied, Inverted thinking is the root of discrimination. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of inverted thinking?
Vimalakirti replied, Non-abiding is the root of inverted thinking. Manjushri asked,
What is the root of non-abiding?
Vimalakirti replied, Non-abiding is rootless. Manjushri, from this non-abiding root, all things arise. A goddess who had watched the gods, listening to the Dharma in Vimalakirti's room, appeared in bodily form to shower flowers on the bodhisattvas and the chief disciples of the Buddha in their honor. When the flowers fell on the bodhisattvas, they fell to the ground, but when they fell on the chief disciples, they stuck to their bodies and did not drop, in spite of all their efforts to shake them off. Thereat, the goddess asked Sariputra why he strove to shake the flowers off. Sariputra replied,
I want to shake off these flowers which are not in the state of suchness.
The goddess said,
Do not say these flowers are not in the state of suchness. Why? Because they do not differentiate, and it is you alone who give rise to differentiation. If you still differentiate after leaving home in your quest for the Dharma, this is not a state of suchness. But if you no longer give rise to differentiation, this will be the state of suchness. Look at the bodhisattvas whose bodies do not retain the flowers. This is because they have put an end to differentiation. This is like a man taking fright who invites trouble for himself from evil people. So if a disciple fears birth and death, then form, sound, smell, taste, and touch can trouble him. But if he is fearless, he is immune from all the 5 sense data. In your case, it is because the force of habit still remains that these flowers cleave to your body, but if you cut it off, they will not stick to it.
Sariputra asked,
How long have you been in this room?
The goddess replied,
My stay in this room is just like the Venerable Elder's liberation.
Sariputra asked,
Do you then mean that you have stayed here for a long time?
The goddess retorted,
Does your liberation also involve time?
Sariputra kept silent and did not reply. The goddess then asked,
Why is the wise elder silent on this point?
Sariputra replied,
He who wins liberation does not express it in words, hence I do not know what to say.
The goddess said,
Spoken and written words reveal liberation. Why? For liberation is neither within, nor without, nor in between, and words are also neither inside, nor outside, nor in between. Therefore, Sariputra, liberation cannot be preached without using words. Why? Because all things point to liberation.
Sariputra asked,
Do you then mean that there is no need to keep from carnality, hatred, and stupidity to win liberation?
The goddess replied,
In the presence of those who are proud of their superior knowledge, the Buddha said it is important to keep from carnality, hatred, and stupidity in the quest of liberation. But where they are absent, he said that the underlying nature of carnality, hatred, and stupidity, that is, the self-nature, is identical with liberation.
Sariputra exclaimed,
Excellent, goddess, excellent! What have you gained and experienced that gives you such an eloquence?
The goddess replied,
The fact that I neither gain nor experience anything gives me this eloquence. Why is it so? Because he who claims to have won and experienced something is arrogant in the eye of the Buddha Dharma.
Sariputra asked,
Which of the 3 vehicles is your aim?
The goddess replied,
When I preach the Shravaka Dharma to convert people, I appear as a Shravaka. When I expound the 12 links in the chain of existence, I appear as a Pratyeka Buddha. And when I teach great compassion to convert them, I appear as a teacher of Mahayana. Sariputra, like those entering a kampa grove, who smell only the fragrance of kampas to the exclusion of all other odors, those entering this room smell only the fragrance of Buddha merits, and no longer like the aroma of achievements by Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Sariputra, when Indra, Brahma, the 4 Deva kings of the 4 heavens, guardians of the world, heavenly dragons, ghosts and spirits, etc., entered the room and heard this Upasaka, Vimalakirti, expound the right Dharma, they all took delight in smelling the fragrance of Buddha merits and developed the Mahayana mind before returning to their worlds. Sariputra, I have stayed here for 12 years, during which I have never heard the dharmas of Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, but only the doctrine of great kindness, Maitri, and great compassion, Karuna, of the Bodhisattvas and the inconceivable Buddha Dharma. Sariputra, in this room there are always 8 unusual manifestations. Firstly, this room is illuminated by a golden light, which is the same by day and by night, and does not depend on either sunlight or moonlight to light it up. Secondly, he who enters it is immune from all troubles caused by defilements. Thirdly, this room is visited by Indra, Brahma, the 4 Deva kings of the 4 heavens, and bodhisattvas from other realms. Fourthly, the never-receding Dharma of the 6 paramitas is always expounded in it. Fifthly, the most melodious heavenly music intoning countless Dharma doors to enlightenment is heard in it. Sixthly, this room contains the 4 canons of sutras, Vinaya, Sastras, and miscellaneous scriptures, full of inexhaustible precious treasures for those who are spiritually poor. Seventhly, when the Venerable Upasaka thinks of Sakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Aksobhaya Buddha, the Buddha of precious virtues, the Buddha of precious flame, the Buddha of precious moonshine, the Buddha of precious majesty, the invincible Buddha, the Buddha of the lion's roar, the Buddha of all perfection, and countless other Buddhas in the 10 directions, they all come to expound the secrets of the esoteric Buddha Dharma, after which they return to their realms. Eighthly, all majestic heavenly palaces and all pure lands of Buddhas appear in this room. Sariputra, after witnessing these 8 remarkable things in this room, who still seeks the Sravaka Dharma?
Sariputra asked.
Why did not you change your female bodily form?
The goddess replied,
For the last 12 years, I have been looking in vain for a female bodily form. So what do you want me to change? This is like an illusionist who creates an illusory woman. Is it correct to ask him to change this unreal woman?
Sariputra said,
No, because it is not a real body. Into what then can it be changed?
The goddess said,
All phenomena, including forms, are also unreal. So why have you asked me to change my unreal female body?
Thereat she used her supernatural powers to change Sariputra into a heavenly goddess, and herself into a man similar to Sariputra, and asked him,
Why do you not change your female form?
Sariputra replied,
I do not know why I have turned into a goddess.
The goddess said,
Sariputra, if you can change your female body, all women should also be able to turn into men. Like Sariputra, who is not a woman, but appears in female bodily form, all women are the same, and though they appear in female form, they are fundamentally not women. Hence the Buddha said,
All things are neither male nor female. Thereat, the goddess again used her supernatural powers to change Sariputra back to his original male body, and asked,
Where is your female body now?
Sariputra replied,
The form of a woman neither exists nor is non-existent.
The goddess then declared,
Likewise, all things are fundamentally neither existing nor non-existent, and that which neither exists nor is non-existent is proclaimed by the Buddha.
Sariputra asked,
When will you leave, die here, and where will you be reborn?
The goddess replied,
I shall be reborn like a Buddha by transformation.
Sariputra interjected,
The Buddha's transformation body implies neither birth nor death.
The goddess said,
Likewise, all living beings fundamentally are subject to neither death nor birth.
Sariputra asked.
When will you realize supreme enlightenment?
The goddess replied,
I shall realize supreme enlightenment when Sariputra returns to the worldly way of life.
Sariputra retorted,
There is no such thing as myself, a holy man at the Stravaka stage, returning to the worldly way of life.
The goddess said,
There is also no such thing as myself realizing enlightenment. Why? Because Bodhi, or enlightenment, is not an objective which can be realized.
Sariputra retorted,
There are Buddhas as countless as sanguines in the Ganges who have realized and will win supreme enlightenment. What will you say of them?
The goddess said,
The 3 periods of time, the past, future, and present, are spoken of to the common man as being in line with worldly thinking, but this does not mean that Bodhi, which is timeless or eternal, is tied to the past, future, and present.
She then asked Sariputra,
Sariputra, have you realized arhatship?
Sariputra replied,
I have realized it because I hold no concept of winning anything.
The goddess said,
Likewise, all Buddhas and great bodhisattvas achieved their goals because they were free from the idea of winning supreme enlightenment.
Thereat, Vimalakirti said to Sariputra, This goddess has made offerings to 92 lakhs of Buddhas. She is able to play with the bodhisattva transcendental powers, has fulfilled all her vows, has realized the patient endurance of the uncreate, and has reached the never-receding bodhisattva stage. In fulfillment of a vow, she appears at will everywhere to teach and convert living beings.